Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, I'm going to help you understand the solar energy space in India and are there some good investment opportunities, especially if you're looking to invest your money for the next 3 to 5 years. So I'll give you complete macro analysis on that backed by a lot of data. This video will help you understand the industry more. I will pick a case study also of one of the companies and do complete analysis of that company so that you can apply the same concept, logic in terms of any solar energy company that you're looking to invest in. Now, first and foremost, some stocks in this industry, the solar energy contracting EPC space has already given multi-bagger returns. For example, if you take a look at something like Vari Renewables, what you will notice is that in the last 1 year, ये September से देख रहे हैं हम data, अभी we are in September of 24, September में this was roughly 250 and now then within a few months the stock went to 2900, almost 12x return बन गया था इसमें, and this is like very dramatic growth, right? Now since then the stock has corrected. Now if you take a look at the longer term timeline, आपको ऐसा दिखेगा एक literally like एक parabolic curve बनता हुआ. So यार this looks like an operator game, so to say, right? And यहाँ पे massive returns had been made. Now, does that mean that you should stop investing in all solar-based, EPC-based companies in this space? The short answer is no, because this type of pumping happens in a lot of industries, so to say. So our job is to study the industry and pick stocks which are fundamentally sound, right? So on that note, let me give a very quick disclaimer that the examples that I'm going to give on this video of certain companies, it's not as if that I have put my money on that already. I'm studying these stocks. These stocks are on my radar. If a better time comes, I will possibly invest in them, but I have to start analyzing these type of companies even 6 months before I build a position. So please study the framework, whatever I am telling you, and accordingly you can analyze stocks on your own, right? So let's jump in, and first and foremost, let's understand the valuation game. And in order to understand the valuation, let's just do it in relation to Vari Renewables. What you will see is that, for example, जैसे L&T है, उसका PE is almost 38. एंड बाकी कंपनीज आप देख रहे होंगे कि कुछ 63 के पीई पे, 95 के पीई पे, 30 के पीई पे. नाउ व्हाट इज द राइट पीई ऑफ सोलर बेस्ड कंपनीज? वैल्यूएशन पे पहले बात कर लेते हैं, देन आई विल डू द इंडस्ट्री एनालिसिस एंड देन आई विल टेक यू थ्रू सम स्टॉक्स. नाउ वैल्यूएशन का ये है कि देयर आर टू लेवल्स ऑफ एनालिसिस दैट यू नीड टू डू. फॉर एग्जांपल L&T अगर आप पकड़ोगे तो नाउ दिस इज अ लार्ज कैप कंपनी, राइट? नाउ लार्ज कैप कंपनी का almost like 40 ka PE might be very high, because what we are betting on? We are betting on the fact that hey, this is the size of the company, and because we are giving it a 40 PE, in the future it can almost like double, right? So ये चीज़ है. But on the flip side, if there is a small cap or mid cap or micro cap company जो छोटी होंगी, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल दिस, राइट, ये 30 के PE पे, अब इसका 80 भी PE होता तो इट्स नॉट एज इफ दैट दिस इज बैड, बिकॉज द साइज ऑफ द कंपनी इज ओनली दिस मच. नाउ फॉर इट टू डबल फ्रॉम लेट्स से अ मार्केट कैप ऑफ लेट्स से 100 crores to 200 crores, इट्स मच ईजियर कंपेयर टू अ मार्केट कैप ऑफ लार्सन एंड टूब्रो. एंड मैं आपको दिखाई देता हूँ. तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पे आप देखोगे इट्स एट अ 5 lakh crore मार्केट कैप. नाउ दिस इज लाइक मैसिव मार्केट कैप. बट इफ यू कंपेयर इट टू सम अदर प्लेयर्स, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल हम बात करते हैं जेनसॉल. नाउ जेनसॉल इज अ स्मॉल कैप कंपनी. नाउ यहाँ पे 61 का PE इज नॉट दैट ड्रामेटिक, सो टू से, बिकॉज आई कीप ऑन गेटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ कमेंट्स कि यू नो व्हाट, यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस स्टॉक, इसका PE बहुत ज्यादा है. यार अभी करंट PE से इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता. द बॉटम लाइन इज दैट व्हाट इज द साइज ऑफ द कंपनी, दैट्स ए, एंड सेकंड इज एट व्हाट रेट इज द कंपनी ग्रोइंग इट्स प्रॉफिट्स. कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पे कंपनी हम देख रहे हैं जेनसॉल. सो जेनसॉल का प्रॉफिट इज 58 crores राइट नाउ, एंड इफ इट्स प्रॉफिट्स गोज टू 116 crores, सो मान लो डबल हो गया प्रॉफिट, then what will be the PE? The PE will get cut into half provided the stock price does not move. So this is a very, very important fundamental point that you must understand, that if you are picking a small cap company and its profits are growing, then even if you are buying it at a slightly higher PE, it's not end of the world, right? Now, this is not a recommendation आप जाके stock खरीद लो. I'm just trying to tell you that this is how you start analyzing things. So this is literally the point on valuation, because अभी solar stocks में valuations have gone up like crazy, जैसे Vari Renewables वगैरह के. तो it's very important to do this first layer of analysis. Now अब उसके बाद बात निकल के आती है कि अच्छा चलो ठीक है, ये तो valuation वाली बात हो गई. Now let us quickly talk about the scope of the industry, कि भाई जो solar industry है, why is it likely to grow? सो एक एस्पेक्ट आता है निकल के कि यार गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू स्पेंड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी, मेक इन इंडिया थीम वगैरह वगैरह थीम्स, वो तो जनरल बातें होंगी. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू टॉक मच अबाउट इट. वो तो चल ही रहा है, जो भी गवर्नमेंट का काम चल रहा है. नाउ मे बी इट विल पैन आउट, मे बी इट विल नॉट पैन आउट, आई डोंट नो. But if you think about it from a macro point of view, so there are 4 sub points that you need to know. That number one, pick any solar player, be it SW Solar, be it Gensol, be it Vari Renewables, etc., be it Larsen and Toubro, all are capital intensive. Capital intensive मतलब इनको भर भर के पैसा चाहिए in order to sustain or run its business. This is very commonsensical. Second key point is that these companies are still in a very nascent stage industry. For example, अभी हो क्या रहा है, जैसे that solar की कहानी in India started 20 years ago and no one was using solar. Why? Because the price point of solar energy was very very high. कि जो panel fabrication होता था, that used to be like really expensive. फिर धीरे धीरे करके right cost कम होती चली गई इन सब चीज़ों की. So solar energy became slightly more feasible, so on and so forth. So there is a lot of innovation happening in this. Many of these companies have started expanding into EV space, new set of businesses, acquiring new businesses. Point being that these are very innovation R&D driven type of companies. So that at least assembly line में तो innovation है, right? So this is second key point. So they require a lot of budget, right? So this is 2. Third is that many of these companies are small, mid-tier companies and they require a lot of borrowing. So their business is built on borrowing. So यहाँ पे आपको borrowing cost बहुत लगेगी. So these are debt-laden businesses. So in case you are an investor who does not prefer to buy high debt companies, then please do not buy these companies. आप अभी वीडियो छोड़ के जा सकते हो, no problem. But in case you want to buy some debt-oriented companies, buy a turnaround story, then maybe looking at these type of industries would make sense. Now, what is the turnaround here? See, the turnaround is interest rate cuts. This is a video that I had done where I had given you complete commentary on how interest rate cuts are going to impact the stock market. I had spoken about the fact that some small cap players are going to benefit. So this is basically a case study on that some small cap players are likely to benefit, especially if they work in a capital intensive industry and have high borrowings. Why? Because the interest rate in the US will move from 5.5% to 4%. What will happen? The borrowing cost will come down. For what type of companies? For exactly these type of companies, right? So therefore, the interest rate cut, while it will benefit the entire market, it will benefit small cap, capital intensive industries the most, especially where a lot of growth might be coming in the future. So ये तीनों चीजें साथ में चलनी चाहिए. So this is the macro thesis why now might be a sensible time to at least look at these type of options. इसके अलावा what I will do is that I will link this note and I will take you through it very very quickly. This explains the overview of solar EPC industry right now in India. Now, what is the meaning of EPC? And I will just take you through this note very, very quickly and then you can read it at your leisure. I will link it in the description and comment box. So basically what type of work do they do? Well, they do feasibility analysis कि भाई solar panels लगने हैं, electricity generate होनी है तो कहाँ पे लगनी है, right? ये agriculture land उठा लें, all that stuff कि भाई west facing में लगनी चाहिए, east facing में लगनी चाहिए. So they will do feasibility analysis. They identify locations, they take permissions, financing, then they assemble everything. For example, solar panels, inverters, mounting and all that stuff. And this is the type of work that they end up doing, right? So इसमें काफी सारा एक लंबी supply chain होती है. That for example, if a company like Vari Renewables or Gensol, etc., they are doing EPC, इसका मतलब क्या होता है कि they are doing all this type of work. So आप आराम से पढ़ लेना what is the meaning of this. Now these type of companies do not fly blind. Now what is the meaning of that? कि पहले ना auctioning होती है by the government and then they bid for certain type of projects. They get that order and then they start spending so much money in terms of filling that order book. There has been a major change in the way these contracts have been designed and the bidding process used to work. Earlier, it was a reverse auctioning process in India. Now, reverse auctioning process का मतलब होता है कि मान के चलो आप हो, right? And मैं हूँ, and we run like two separate companies. You run a solar company A, I run a solar company B. Government has come out with a project that, okay, we want to generate like X units of electricity in Maharashtra. You will also bid for it, I will also bid for it. Previously, what used to happen in reverse auctioning was that you will say, okay, I am going to bid 100 crores in order to secure this. I'll give government 100 crores. Then what will I do? I'll say, you know what, okay, chalo, I will do it at like 120 crores. तो मेरा क्या हो रहा है? This is a race to the bottom कि हम लोग bid ऊपर बढ़ाते चले जाएंगे, right? So this is reverse auctioning and this does not lead to any innovation. This basically leads to massive cost cutting कि आप जितना पैसा काट सकते हो एक दूसरे का काट लो, right? And you somehow just win the project and do धांधलेबाजी in it and you somehow make money on it. So this used to be, one could argue, a bad way of auctioning it. Now what has happened is that we have moved to a closed envelope system कि आपने अपनी bid लगा दी, मैंने अपनी bid लगा दी. I don't know how much you have bid for, you don't know how much I have bid for. जिसकी भी bid खुल गई, right? I mean, they will end up getting that contract. So this is how it's done, at least on paper. Practically कैसे होता है? That is a separate conversation altogether. But the point from an investor viewpoint is that this is a positive development, positive step, and it leaves room for solar players or EPC contractors to at least make some money. So then comes a natural question कि अच्छा इंडिया में growth rate बढ़ रहा है इसका कि नहीं बढ़ रहा है, वर्ल्ड में क्या सीन है. So there are 2-3 charts that I will try to show it to you. Now you will see that between 2022 to 2027 the market is likely to grow at 34.24%. Now this is a very healthy growth rate. अब इसमें यार करा ये जा सकता है कि अब these type of reports are generated by solar companies themselves. So वो बड़ा चढ़ा के बताते हैं 34 हो जाएगा, 90 हो जाएगा and all that stuff. So don't believe these raw numbers per se. But see, this is still a healthy growth rate. आप 15 भी मान लो तो भी it's not a bad from an industry growth viewpoint. Okay, so this is one. Even if you take a conservative estimate, it turns out well. Now, even from a global viewpoint perspective, it is expected that in the next 10 years, the market is almost going to double. Now, this again is not a bad number at all, right? इसमें CAGR निकल के आएगा 17-18% at a global level. So, India में it will be faster because India has more energy needs, all that stuff. So, no matter which report we look at least we are looking at a CAGR of industry between 15 to 20%. So, next I was talking about the innovation in this industry and इसमें हो क्या रहा है कि that is the industry turning net profitable. So, the short answer is yes, क्योंकि जैसे the module price of solar electricity, it has come down dramatically quite extensively. There has been a wider spread adoption of solar electricity. लोग solar panel वगैरह लगवाने लगे हैं. I spend a lot of time in Goa. So वहाँ पे तो mostly सभी घरों में solar panels लगे होते हैं. It's a sunshine state. So वहाँ पे काफ़ी लोग लगाते हैं, right? And this trend is spreading all across India because in the long term, the current infrastructure is such that it is actually helping you save money. So this is a net positive industry from that angle. Now, one key investment oriented point that I will tell you from an industry perspective is regarding the viewpoint of FIIs, right? So foreign institutional investor or FDIs, right? एक्चुअली होता है क्या है कि मेनी FDIs और FIIs हैव अ ग्रीन मैंडेट. ग्रीन मैंडेट का मतलब कि वो क्लीन एनर्जी में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं. दे वांट टू हैव दैट सोशल कैपिटल गोइंग, राइट? सो solar energy becomes like a good area for them to look into, especially in a country like India. So abhi, for the last 4 years, FIIs, FDIs have been selling in the Indian market. Whenever they return to the Indian market, this becomes a good candidate for them to put experimental money. I am not saying कि इसमें वो crazy amount of money डाल देंगे, but there is a good chance that they will put a healthy amount of money in this industry. Now, this does not mean that there are not challenges in the solar space. In fact, from an investment point of view, there are multiple challenges. The first key challenge is that this is a very fragmented market. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर इज अ कंपनी कॉल्ड एज SW Solar, विच इज अ रिलायंस बैक्ड कंपनी, एंड रिलायंस ने उसमें अपनी जो पोजीशन बनाई थी दैट दे बिल्ट इट इन समवेयर अराउंड 2021-2022 के आसपास. तो अभी नई ही गेम ये शुरू हुआ है. इट्स अ लॉन्ग वे टू गो. इफ यू आर एन इन्वेस्टर इन एन इंडस्ट्री फॉर 10 years, you can see that you know what, just wheels have started turning here. So this is a very fragmented market. अब ऐसी बहुत सारी कंपनियां हैं, SW Solar type, Gensol type, Vari Renewables type. So now you have to pick which companies of this you should pick. Should you split your money and put it? But if I have to just quickly close out the industry section, it's very simple that यार ये industry बढ़नी है. It's not as if that this is a going in a downtrend. This is actually a sunshine industry. Money is coming in even from domestic big players like Reliance, and FDI, FI money will also come. Growth rate of the industry makes sense. So from that, it's positive. The second key dimension is that how do you go about analyzing a company in this space? So एक example pick कर लेते हैं. I think that will be much easier. The first key choice that you will have to make is that whether you go with a small cap, mid cap type company, or do you go with large cap. Now, if you are picking something like L&T, right, वो भी उसको भी काम मिलेगा, वो भी कुछ ना कुछ करेगी इस इंडस्ट्री में. सो ठीक है, आप उसको कम पी पे खरीद लेना, दैट्स द ओनली थिंग, एंड यू आर लाइकली टू मेक मनी. लेकिन इफ यू बाय इट एट 40-50 पी, अ लार्ज कैप कंपनी लाइक L&T, then the chances of correction is much higher, or you can wait for correction on this industry and then build positions. The second option is that you do a growth play. Growth play means कि आप small cap, mid cap, micro cap type of companies you pick in this space and you see whether it makes sense. So इसमें पहला क्राइटेरिया तो आ गया था वैल्यूएशन का, which I have already spoken about. So यहाँ पे अपन जेंसॉल का भी एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं एक बार कि जेंसॉल में क्या हुआ था. So for example, the stock has been consolidating for almost a year now, right? So आप देख सकते हो October 23 and हम almost October 24 में आ गए, तो कुछ खास हुआ नहीं है इसमें. Now what about numbers? Are the numbers justifiable? So अगर अपन profits वगैरह देखें इस कंपनी के, so the company is sitting on record revenues and record or highest ever profits. So that's a good sign कि यार company is actually growing, no problem there. फिर हमें समझना पड़ेगा कि in which segment is the company operational in, because most of the companies have started to do two types of work. One is that they are doing EPC, which seems to be very profitable right now. एंड उसमें ऑर्डर बुक वगैरह एनालाइज करना इज ईजी. एंड द सेकंड एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द वर्क इज फोकसिंग ऑन सम इनोवेशन ड्रिवन थिंग, यार ईवी कर लिया या ईवी पे फोकस कर लिया जस्ट फॉर वैल्यूएशन, आई डोंट नो. सो वो आपको देखना पड़ेगा, राइट. सो अगेन अगर हम जेंसॉल पे जाएं एंड दिस यू कैन चेक. सो इफ यू गो ऑन प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस एंड लुक एट प्रोडक्ट सेगमेंट, सो यू विल बी एबल टू कलेक्ट दिस इन्फॉर्मेशन कि जैसे इसका ईपीसी पे ही फोकस है, राइट. मोस्ट ऑफ द मनी दैट द कंपनी मेक्स एक्चुअली कम्स फ्रॉम ईपीसी, राइट. ईपीसी मतलब कि यार उन्होंने सोलर पैनल्स वगैरह लगा दिए किसी और कंपनी के लिए या समथिंग, ऑर्डर बुक फिल कर दी एंड देन दे आर मेंटेनिंग दैट. सो ये जो लीजिंग हो गई या उन्होंने बना के लीज कर दिया, राइट. सो दिस इज लाइक सेकंड की थिंग, या मेंटेनेंस कर दी उसकी. सो दिस इज देयर सेकंड पीस ऑफ रेवेन्यू. इसके अलावा उनका कोई खास बिजनेस है नहीं. सो इफ यू आर डूइंग अ प्ले ऑन जेंसॉल देन व्हाट आर यू डूइंग? यू आर बेसिकली डूइंग एन ईपीसी सोलर प्ले. दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो सोलर इज अ वेरी वाइड टॉपिक एंड यू कैन गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. बट इफ यू लुक एट द कंपनी, सो यहाँ पे आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलेगी एंड दिस इज सेकंड पीस ऑफ नोट. आई हैव प्रिपेयर्ड an entire note on it. In case you need more information on this company, you can go and read it in detail. So यहाँ पे आपको दिखेगा कि देखो उन्होंने EV लीज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड एक बनाई हुई है, एक EV बनाई हुई है, एक ट्रैकर्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड बनाई हुई है, एक एनर्जी ट्रेडिंग बनाई हुई है. दुनिया भर की कंपनियां बना दी है, राइट. आई मीन अ बंच ऑफ स्मॉल प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स दे हैव मेड, राइट. नाउ दिस इज बोथ गुड एंड बैड बिकॉज राइट नाउ व्हाट यू आर बाइंग द EPC बिजनेस ऑफ जेंसॉल. यू आर नॉट बाइंग ऑल दीज wide range of other different companies जिसके बारे में आपको सिर पैर नहीं पता, right. This is an important point. Another key point is that you need to see where the company's business is coming from. So for example, in Gensol's case, for example, almost it's 76% business comes from EPC and most of the business is based outside India. So subcontracting कर रहे होंगे बाकी सारे companies के लिए. So which means that अच्छा वो cheaper labor provide करके, specialist provide करके, they might be doing lower end work in countries abroad. And again, I have written this in my notes. Just for example, Middle East में इनका काफी काम चल रहा है and they are filling their order book quite substantially from here also, right. So this is something that you need to keep in mind whether you are doing a pure play India play or are you looking for more diversified options. फिर इसमें third point निकल के आता है that you have to read the management commentary latest updates really well. So I have segmented some key things and इसमें आप order book के बारे में जरूर पढ़ना that what their order book is currently like. So for example, here they have said that our solar order book, including BESS project wins, stand at roughly 4,700 crores as of July 31st, 2024. अब इतना तो इनका रेवेन्यू पोटेंशियल है, राइट. अब रेवेन्यू रिकॉग्निशन होगा इन सब्सिक्वेंट ईयर्स, बट यार इतना इनका आना ही आना है. एंड ये कितने करोड़ की कंपनी थी? फॉर एग्जांपल आप यहाँ पे जाके देखो कि टोटल कंपनी का साइज ही कितना है. कंपनी का साइज है 3,600 करोड़ एंड उनकी ऑर्डर बुक कितने की है? उनकी ऑर्डर बुक ही 4,700 करोड़ की है, राइट. सो धीरे धीरे कंपनी का साइज बढ़ना है, राइट. सो एज आई वाज सेइंग दैट हे स्मॉल कैप can potentially go to mid cap. So if you see that playing out, then yeah, you can look even more closely. Next point you need to understand is that see these are small cap, mid cap type of companies. So ये फालतू का पैसा ही बहुत खर्च करते हैं and they end up burning a lot of money. So it's very important to be considerate about the profit margin. So ये भी आपको data usually आपको con calls में मिल जाता है. Here they are predicting an EBITDA, right, or their overall profit margin between 15 to 18%. Now let me speak about some risk factors. Now in case you are looking to build position in these type of companies, it's also important to understand the risk factors. For example, the biggest risk right now is the point that hey, this is a small cap company which works in capital intensive space. So उनको भारी भरकम capital की जरूरत है and when companies borrow, it can be really great and it can fall also. So ये कभी भी आपके portfolio का ऐसा नहीं होता कि you put like 10% of your portfolio in these type of companies. You build little bit of positions in case you have conviction. Here you will see that the pledged promoter holding is close to 80%. Now what is the meaning of pledged promoter holding? Promoter holding means that for example I am running this company. Now I am getting a lot of orders. Now I have to fulfill that order. I have working capital requirement, but no one, if I go to a bank, business के लिए बैंक वैसे भी बहुत मुश्किल से लोन देता है unless you are a big player. So you cannot really procure from a bank per se. तो जैसे कई बार होता है, जैसे for example you can take loans against mutual funds. अब आप बोलोगे यार मेरी कैपिटल खाली पड़ी हुई है and क्या म्यूचुअल फंड ऐसी पड़े हैं मुझे बेचने वेचने हैं नहीं. So okay, let me borrow money against mutual fund. Now this is not a practice that I am recommending that you do, but many people do it. Similarly, promoters in certain company, what they also do is that they pledge their own shares in their own company and take loans against it. Why? To fulfill their working capital requirements, because they cannot raise money elsewhere or the rate at which they are getting to borrow money might be crazy. So जब interest rate कटेंगे, then this pledge promoter holding is likely to come down. But is this a risk? 100% this is a risk. This is always a risk with capital intensive businesses. And therefore, if you're looking for high risk, high reward opportunity, these type of opportunities might make sense. But if you're a low risk investor, these type of investment opportunities do not make sense. The second key risk with the company is that right now it is growing at 52% CAGR in the last 5 years. Now this is like massive growth rate. I don't know if the company will be able to sustain it for how long unless they expand to new industries. So they are experimenting with the EV segment, and again जो मैंने नोट बनाया था उसमें जाके आप पढ़ भी सकते हो पूरा whatever expansions they are doing etc. So that bit might work, might not work, and it can backfire. So in case that happens, so the growth rate can be dented. The third key risk with the business is the internationalization of business. So for example, अभी तो अच्छा लग रहा है जैसे for example US में growth हो रही है, right? I mean their GDP data tells us that the US market is growing. 60% of companies' business is focused on North America, so which means that this business could actually benefit from US's growth. So in these type of businesses, there can always be regulation-oriented changes. So we have to be careful of that also. So this was an entire deep dive of how you can go about analyzing solar company stocks. The industry is growing. There are a lot of fragmented players in this industry. You as an investor will have to pick which of these stocks will fit best with your portfolio and have patience with these stocks. This is definitely a good industry, but because of the fragmented nature, you have to understand how to reduce risk. Now, in case you want to learn more about investing, how I invest, how I guide my community, you can definitely check out my YouTube member community. I give out a lot of macro commentary, a lot of timely updates on everyday basis, and that can really enhance your fundamental understanding and will help you make better choices when it comes to investments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.